Assalamu alaikum friends. Today we are with yet another poem after apple picking by Robert Frost. Hope that you all are doing well at your home, but we need to stick to the mantra stay home, stay safe. So today we will discuss a poem after apple picking by Robert Frost. So let's start. And before discussing this poem by Robert Frost, let me give you a brief introduction of the poet, and after that, I will give you an introduction of the poem, and then we will go for the line by line paraphrases of the poem. And at the end, we will discuss some poetic techniques, some poetic devices which have been used in the poem. So, let us start. So, firstly, we will see we'll know something about the poet Robert Frost, who was the poet, and what are his remarkable these works. Actually, his full name is Robert Lee Frost. He was an American poet, and his works initially published in England before it was published in America. Robert Frost was born on 26 March 1874 in California, United States, and he died on 29 January 1963 in Boston, United States. There are some famous poems written by Frost. The Road Not Taken. We have another poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Nothing Gold Can Stay, and we have got some more poems written by him. He has received so many prizes, awards, Robert Frost Medal. We have got Pulitzer Medal for Poetry, United States Poet Laureate, and we have got Burlingame Prize. So far as the poetry of Robert Frost is concerned, his poetry was usually filled with skepticism, and we also know that he was poet of nature. So like William Wordsworth, whenever we go through the poems of Robert Frost, we find nature all over there. Now, coming to the poem, this apple picking. Now, before going to the poem, let me tell you something about this poem. This poem is actually a metaphorical poem, or we can say that it is a symbolic poem. And in this poem, when you will go through the poem, you will find a lot of symbols or these metaphors used by the poet. Now let us recite the poem, then we will go to the poem line by line. After Apple Picking by Robert Frost. My long two-pointed ladder sticking through a tree towards heaven still, and there is a barrel that I didn't fill beside it, and there may be 2 or 3 apples I didn't pick upon some bough. But I'm done with apple picking now. Essence of winter sleep is on the night. The scent of apples I'm drowsing off. I cannot rub the strangeness from my sight I got from looking through a pane of glass skimmed this morning from the drinking trough and held against the world of hoary cross. It melted, and I let it fall and break, but I was well upon my way to sleep before it fell, and I could tell what from my dreaming was about to take. Magnified apples appear and disappear, stem in and blossom in, and every fleck of russet showing clear. My instep arc not only keep the ache, it keeps the pressure of a ladder round. I feel the ladder sway as the bow bend, and I keep hearing from the cellar bin the rumbling sound of load and unload of apples coming in, for I have had too much of apple picking. I am overtired of the great harvest I myself desired. There were 10,000 fruits to touch, cherish in hand, lift down, and not let fall, for all that struck the earth, no matter if not bruised or spiked with stubble, went surely to the cider apple heap as of no worth. One can see what will trouble the sleep of mine, whatever sleep it is. Where he not gone, the woodchuck could say whether it is like his long sleep as I describes it coming on, or just some human sleep. So this is the text of the poem. Now a brief intro of the poem. The poem extends about 42 lines, and it was published in north of Boston. When we see in the poem, we find it is a remarkable nature poem of Frost, and the stuff is common. And we see that the poem begins with the description of the apple picker who has stuck his two-pointed ladder through a tree upwards, and we find there is a barrel that he did not fill, and there are 2 or 3 apples more that he did not pick upon some bough. But he is now completely tired of apple picking, and he feels sleepy as the winter is well on, and the scent of apples is well out. All the objects of nature appear strange to him now. While apple picking, he fell into a trance and started dreaming, and he's not sure of the kind of dream he saw, but he knows at least one thing, that big apples appeared and disappeared, and he also feels that his ladder uh, has swayed to and fro by the wind. After describing the delight of the eyes, we see that he describes the delight of the ears, and we will also see that he feels tired after apple picking. And at the end, he wishes that the harvest of apples should be bumper, and when his wish is fulfilled, he feels that he is exhausted due to overwork. So in this poem, we will see that it is a dream-like poem, and as the poet is in dream. Now in the going by line, we see that the poet, what does he say? My long two-pointed ladder sticking through a tree towards heaven. So here the poet says that I am, for example, in an orchard, and I have stuck my ladder to an apple tree towards the sky, towards the heaven means towards the sky, and ladder, it is actually a portable stair. So he has found a ladder which is stuck to a apple tree, and the direction is towards the heaven, towards the what we call the sky. and there is a barrel that I didn't fill beside it, and there is a barrel, or we can say there is a drum beside the tree which he hasn't yet filled, which are empty and which are going to be filled with apples. And beside it, and there may be 2 or 3 apples I didn't pick upon some bough. And he is not sure, but he presumes or assumes that there are some apples left on the bough, on the branch. Bough means the branch of the apple tree, which he hasn't picked yet. But he is not sure how many apples are there, or are they really there. But I'm done with apple picking now. But the poet, he says that he is tired now. Almost he has finished the harvest, he has finished apple picking, and he finds himself tired. He finds himself done. So we, in these 3 lines, we find there are some words, for example, sticking through. It means that can be seen through the branch of tree which it is leaning. And already I have told that boh, it simply means branch, and we have got another that is done with, which means finished. So next is essence. We have got essence of winter sleep. Essence of winter sleep is on the night. The scent of apples I am drowsing off. So the poet says here, describes the sweet sensation of tiredness, sleepiness, and satisfaction that when a harvester or a farmer feels after a good harvest. So he says, he means to say that the essence or the sweet scent of the, what we call it, this apples, they are making me drowsy, and I want to sleep. I want to sleep. So now the poet goes into a flashback. We will find a line, I cannot rub the strangeness from my sight. The poet wants us to say that even after trying to forget something, I'm not able to forget it, the strangeness of some sight, some scene. And now in the next this stanza, he actually reminds us the a scene from the morning which he is now recalling. The scene is like this: I got from looking through a pane of glass, skimmed this morning from the drinking trough, and held against the world of hoary cross. Now he recalls the scene of the morning, that in the morning that he has skimmed, he has drawn out a thin layer of ice from a trough. Trough is simply, actually it is what we called a bowl, or what we called, it is a long narrow pit where which is holding for, used for holding water or animals. And he has skimmed a plain sheet of ice from it, and he has held it against his eyes, and he is now watching the whole world through it. And the scene is that there is hoary grass. Hoary grass means simply green grass covered with snow. Green grass covered with snow. And when he held it for some time, he saw that it began to melt. And I let it melt and let it fall and break. He now says that the ice sheet melted and it now fell and almost broke. And I let it so. But as I was well upon my way to sleep before it fell. He was recalling the scene, but before the scene appears, that the sheet of the sky would fall down, He feels over drowsy and he goes to sleep. And I could tell. Now he predicts his dream. Now there is third phase. In the first phase, in the first stanza, we see that he just recalls the scene of overtiredness that he has done apple picking. Now in the second stanza, we see that he recalls a scene of the morning. Now he means we were having a present, now we were having a past, now he is depicting something about future, he is predicting something about future dream. Now what kind of dream he is going to see, what from a dream was about to take, he wants to tell that what kind of dream he is going to cherish. And in the dream, he sees magnified apples appear and disappear. He sees so many big apples, magnified, big apples in the dream. They just come and go, they appear and disappear. And he saw them from every end, from stem end and from the blossom end, meaning from every angle. He was observing them from every angle and every fleck of russet showing clear. He was not only seeing them, but he was observing them minutely. And here russet means simply reddish brown color. He was seeing, he was watching there those minute things, the russet that brown color. And now this is the what we call the prediction of his dream. But meanwhile, as he is drowned in the dream, he now comes back to the scene and says, my instep arc not only keep the ache, it keeps the pressure of the ladder round. Instep simply means the curve on the bottom of the foot, or means the sole of the foot. And we have got another word, ladder round. It is simply the round step of the ladder. Sway means to move to and fro. And now he says that my bottom curve of the foot, it aches now due to being there for a longer time, and the ladder sways here and there to and fro, to and fro. I feel the ladder sway as the bow bends. As the branch of the tree bends, he finds that the ladder sways, sometimes to, sometimes fro. So here he wants to say that he has to go through hardships. Now in the next line, and I kept hearing from the cellar bin the rumbling sound. Up to now he was depicting some imageries of sight. Now we will go to the imageries of this what we call sound. And now, and I kept hearing from the cellar bin simply means that drum full of those apples. I heard the rumbling sound, the sound of the apples that were being filled into it, of load and load of apples coming in, which were going to be filled into that drum. For I have had too much of apple picking, I am overtired. Now the poet says that I am overtired, I am done, I am dead tired, and I have finished my apple picking. I am not going to take any more of the great harvest I desired. Now he is the harvest he has desired, the harvest he has wished, the crop he has wished, the apples he has wished to be harvested, that has made him overtired. That means wishes, wants, or desires, they make someone this what we call the tired. And he here says that I desired for the heavy crop, for good crop of apples, and after apple picking, after picking them, they made me tired. Now in the next, he says there were 10,000 fruit to touch. He says that there were a lot of apples. Cherish in hand, which I wish to cherish in my hand, touch, they lift down and not let them fall, let fall for all. And there were a lot of apples still, which I wish that they needed to be cherished, to bring down without any injury, without any bruises that struck the earth. Means whenever they fall and struck the earth, they, no matter if not bruised or spiked with stubble, went surely to the cider apple heap. Here he means that whenever you get an opportunity, and if you will not grab it in time, and later on if you will grab it, it will be not of that value which it has on its own time. So he here wishes, he here wants to convey that no doubt there are bundles of apples still left which needs to be bring down or picked up. Now the next is on one can see what will trouble the sleep of mine, whatever sleep it is. He wished to pick more apples, but actually sleep has overtaken him. One can see one can see what will trouble. I mean, as we can feel that what is troubling me, it is actually the sleep which is not allowing me for more harvest, which is not allowing me for more harvest, the sleep of mine. But he's not able to understand what kind of sleep it is. Is it that eternal type of sleep, a death, or it is a simple human sleep where he not gone, were he not gone, the woodchuck could say whether it is like his long sleep as I described its coming on. So he now refers to the woodchuck. It is simply a burrowing animal which hibernates under the earth. He now wants to convey him that he has gone, but I want to ask him, is it a sleep like him? Is it a long sleep like that of hibernation or death, or it is simply a human sleep when I will come back, or just some human sleep. So this was some what we called literal meaning of this meaning of these some liners. But actually now if we will see another what we call the meaning or another side of the coin, actually the poet wants us to convey that these apples, they are simply the aims or the desires of a man who wishes to fulfill them. He wants to grab them, and later it is actually the effort which a person puts in to grab those, and cellar bin or that drum, it is actually the achievements which he has achieved in the life. So, and here we have got what we call that sleep is simply compared to death. It is used as a metaphor and death. So if in nutshell, if we will summarize this poem, the poet says that a person in life wants to has so many aims in life, and he wants to grab them all, but it is not necessary that all his aims will be fulfilled, because that they are being overtaken by death, sleep. And number one, number two, it is not easy for a person to grab to achieve these what we call his aims, as he has compared it to the swaying of the ladder with the moving bow, bending of the bow. Means if you want to achieve some aim, you need to work hard, as he has also compared it with the pen of the arc, that instep arc. That means you have to work hard in order to achieve something in your life. So we see that apparently there is some different meaning, but inside there is some different meaning of the word, these words. So that is why we in the first in the beginning I have told you that it is a metaphorical or symbolic poem. So now we will come to some symbols. What are different types of symbols used in this poem? Now, if you will go to the poetic devices, I have taken some symbols from the this what we call poem. We have seen apples, we have peril, we have ladder, we have swing, we have apple picking, we have winter sleep, we have dreaming, we have harvest, but I will explain two or three among them. For example, we will take harvest. We will take harvest. Harvest. What does it mean? So it means simply a reward of an effort. Means whenever you put in any effort in life, what are your achievements? What you have achieved. So here harvest simply we can see reward of an effort. And then we have got what if we have got dreaming, we have got dreaming here. So it simply means the ambitions or the desires of our life, means what kind of dream he wants, as when we were going through the lines that he was predicting his dream. There were 10,000s of apples bigger, they were appearing and disappearing. So dreaming, it is actually desiring our ambitions. And then we have got, for example, we have got the winter sleep. Winter sleep here simply means a state of inactivity, a state of inactivity, or simply we call as death. Means he says in the in few lines that he wants to grab more apples, but sleep has overtaken him. So death. So it is only death which stops us from more achievements. And then we have seen that we have got apple picking. Apple picking simply it means completing any task in time. What are your achievements? How what you have achieved in your life? And then we have seen swaying. Swaying simply means that that is the effort, extra effort which you are going to take to chase your what we call those achievements. And then ladder, it is actually the effort and connectivity to with your achievements. Barrel, simply the bunch of your achievements of your whole life, what you have achieved. Apples, they are simply those desires or wishes of your life. So these were some poetic techniques, some symbols. Hope that you will find a few more by yourself. And next we have got some more thing from the poem. We see that we have got a poetic technique that is called a hyperbole or hyperbole sometimes. Usually we call it as hyperbole. First we will see what it is. It is simply way of speaking or writing that makes something or someone sound bigger, better, more extra than actually they are. So means exaggerating something. For example, I have taken an example from the poem, there were 10,000 fruits to touch. This is one of the hyperbole from the poem. So whenever you will find such exaggerating words or such exaggerating lines or sentences in any this like what we call poem, you will call it as hyperbole, and you will try to find if there are some more hyperboles in the poem. So next is we have another poetic technique of the poem where we call it as alliteration. So first let me tell you what this alliteration mean. It is simply the repetition of initial consonant sounds. We see some adjacent in the adjacent words. We see that consonant sounds are being repeated in the initial. There are few obvious examples in this apple picking, but there are several short examples. For example, in the line I have taken it, for example, I have taken a line from I feel the ladder sways as the bow bends. So if you will go through this line, you will find a simple alliteration. Bow bends is an example of alliteration. We see bow, it starts with the consonant b, and bends b again means b b, bows bends. So this is an alliteration. So I hope that you have got this alliteration. It is simply the repetition of initial consonants, and we have seen it so many tongue twisters. For example, we have seen she sells at the seashore. For example, another one I will tell you that he that knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. So these are some alliterations where consonant sounds are used at the initial as initials. in some lines. So again, this is found in this poem. Hope that you might have enjoyed this video, and whatever was up to me, I have brought it to you. Thank you very much.